So here we are in Cannes at the Cannes Boat Show. It just ended.
Mm-hmm.
What's your biggest takeaway?
Don't buy a boat at a boat show.
Which is so funny because that's how people come to boat shows.
We did that. We put money down
We
at
did.
the Annapolis Boat Show back in 2018, 17.
Yeah, so we're breaking our own rules. And we have the biggest tips for you since it's boat show season. So stay tuned. Hello, and welcome to Covert Castaway. I'm Holly.
Je suis Stéphane.
Join us as we share what we learned and how we're making the transition to liveaboard cruising. So we didn't come to Cannes, but we are the boat show people that didn't come to Cannes for the boat show, but we're in Cannes longer than the boat show has been going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We love it here.
We love it here.
I guess.
Not really. Actually, we didn't come for the boat show at all. We were dropping off the O'Kellys because they sailed with us for a few days, and we were dropping them off because they were going to the boat show. And then we ended up actually having some useful conversations, which we'll kind of catch everybody up on. But
yeah, I think there's definitely connection / relationships. There's a lot of people. There's a community, and then so we've met some old friends like Mark from Montenegro. We met the different people that we've been talking to over the last couple of years with different equipment we have on board. So that was good to share with them some of our feedback and learn a couple of things as we were talking to them. So there's definitely that part of the
it's
connection.
Nice. We got to meet the Wins in person, so that was cool.
Yeah.
And spend more time with the O'Kellys. So the community aspect was great, and then also just meeting in person. The people from, who made the water maker, talking again to North Sails. You got a free hat. You scored a free hat.
Yeah.
From North Sails.
Talking to the people from C.AI for camera on top of the mast. Talking to, SailSense and the equipment we have on board. And we'll probably share more of that later.
Yeah. So the relationship aspect of it, especially with the different vendors, is really important because it's a small industry. And having those relationships.
Oh, and then talking about the flooring. We want to do something for the cockpit.
We can't decide now between cork and sea deck.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
You cannot decide.
I can't decide, yeah. Anyway, so just a quick recap of where we're at. We're actually supposed to be in the Balearics.
Yeah, we left Saturday morning early.
We intended to leave.
Yeah, well, we did leave.
We did leave.
We raised anchor. And then we discovered that even though some electronic problems were resolved,
our AIS wasn't transmitting, and we got that resolved.
Yeah, the depth sounder was not reliable, and so we got all these three things resolved in the VHF, the secondary VHF also. So got it replaced, got it resolved, feeling good about it. Let's see a weather window that was a little lively, but without let's take it. And then we were about to leave. We find shelter behind an island to raise the main. And I guess you're trying to put the autopilot on.
Tried to put it in wind mode, and we have no wind information. So it wasn't just the autopilot. There was no wind information on any of our...
Yeah, there was a workaround, so we could get...
I know, but I don't want to go 250 miles offshore.
Oh, there was no workaround for the autopilot.
Do a workaround.
The only workaround for the autopilot. We could get wind, but not the autopilot. The autopilot, we would have had to go in compass mode, which we could have done it, but since the people are here, the BNG people
I know,
here,
we're like stalking the electronics people.
We're like, why go somewhere in the middle of the med in the small island, and why not have them come on board right here?
So since the boat show's over, they have all kinds of time. You're gonna go pick them up on the dinghy, and they're gonna work on the boat today, which is awesome.
Yeah, they'll come over, all of them.
Yeah, we told them we were gonna hold them all hostage until they fixed everything. So they may be on our boat for a few days. So we'll see.
So and now we've learned to not make any plans because until the things
get resolved.
And now we learn, like, even if the things that you want to resolve get resolved, like,
there's always some other problem.
Do a full quality control. I mean, the issue might not be about these components. It might be about the network itself. So that might be the source of all this. But we need to resolve it.
Anyway, we're going on and on about ourselves, but what we really wanted to talk about was we wanted to, since we were able to go to the boat show, it reminded us of maybe some things that, as we go into boat show season and Annapolis is coming up and everything else, it's good to keep in mind, maybe some things if you're buying a boat. So I think Stefan said the first one, which is even though you're going to the boat show probably because you want to buy a boat, don't buy a boat at the boat show. That's the first tip.
Takes the fun out of it, Suddenly, you cannot leave the boat show and come back home and we just bought a boat.
I know. Well, and the reasons will become clear as we kind of go through the next 5 things. So the second thing is it's really important to understand truly what your requirements are.
What your plan?
Yeah.
Your sailing, cruising plan is?
Well, your requirements are based on your plan.
Yeah, well, you need to establish that clearly. As a couple, as a family.
Couple, right. So, like, one of you might have an idea of doing a circumnavigation and maybe talking the other one into it. And the other person might be like, oh, I'm up for coastal cruising or seasonal cruising. And those two different styles have different requirements for the boat. It's not just about price. It's about how the boat performs and what goes in it and, all length of the boat. Like there's all these kinds of things that matter.
And it might be, you might want to start with coastal cruising to test the waters.
Right.
And then with the idea behind it to do a circumnavigation. And it could be 2 different boats. It could be one boat, and to get more experience, stuff like this, and another boat later that is more adapted to this. Or if you have a high level confidence that you want to do circumnavigation, but when you want to start slow, maybe it makes sense to buy the right boat for that purpose, and then you'll just kind of do more coastal cruising the first couple years. So the point is, you need to have a clear idea and write it down as a couple, as a family, of what you're agreeing to, and based on that, what are the requirements for the boat?
Right. And another thing that kind of goes along with this is, do you like to get performance out of the boat, or are you good motoring a lot, potentially in a heavier boat? So we lived this firsthand, right? I think we thought we wanted to be just like cruisers and chill. But what we realized is we actually like sailing more than we like motoring. That doesn't bother some people. But for us, it really, really bothered us. So you have to just get straight on how you want to cruise and what kind of cruiser you want to be.
And what's misleading is, and it's a valid argument, people will say like, oh, I don't care so much about the performance or how well the boat sails because 90% of the time I'm good.
Yeah.
90% of the time I'm going to be at anchor. But I think this argument is easy to take at face value, but it's not the reality. It might be the reality that you're going to be at anchor more than you sail. But there is a lot, if you're doing passages like Atlantic crossing, Pacific crossing, this is a lot of sailing.
A lot of water.
And even though you have these big passages, you also have a lot of moving around. Even if you're in the Caribbean, in the season, you might be making a couple thousand miles just moving back and forth to the islands. So yes, you're going to spend a lot of time on anchor, but it's very, very important that you also have a boat that sails.
Well, if that's your goal, like if you live on the coast and you live near a boat marina, and you're going to take the boat out on weekends and maybe seasonally and going up and down the coast from where you live, that may not be an issue. But if you're crossing oceans, that's kind of a bigger deal. So, and the reason for the requirements one is, everything comes with a trade-off. Mm-hmm. And so when you make a decision on a boat, you're going to be like, well, it's this or that. Like no boat is absolutely perfect. I don't know. I like our boat. I feel like our boat's perfect for us. Mm-hmm. But when it comes down to determining what really is right for your project and for you as a sailing couple, you're going to trade off certain things, and you need some kind of way to make those decisions.
Yeah. And so if you write those requirements down, then when you're about to make decisions, make sure you go back to those requirements and making sure that you're not falling in love for something that's suddenly like it's in front of your eyes and shiny and looks good, and not going back to what you defined was your plan. And
Exactly. And I'm going to put a footnote on this point, because if you go back to 1 or 2, it might be the podcast episode 2, maybe, or 3 of Covert Castaway. I think the title of it is First Fall in Love with the Boat.
Yeah.
And the purpose of me stating that was because if you fall in love with a boat, you can start to picture yourself making this lifestyle change, and you can start setting a budget. We learned a lot by kind of taking that route. So in some ways it was good because it got us on the water in the first place. But there's a caveat to that point. Just I think what we would have done differently is make sure you kind of know what your requirements are. But I don't even know.
So maybe it's like fall in love with a lifestyle, charter boats, go sailing with friends, talk to people, but don't fall in love.
Yeah,
with the boat. I don't know.
Anyway,
I think the order is critical here.
Yeah, this is really
a clear
important.
Plan that you both agree on, and some clear requirements, and always go back to those.
Yeah. So tip number 3 is use those requirements as your lens when you're prioritizing time at the boat show. So there's so many distractions at the boat show. And, we went on a bunch of boats, and I can see how, they've got a good pitch, you're looking at some of these flashy things that are cool, and it's so easy to get distracted, and it's easy for things to become requirements for you that aren't actually requirements for you. So here's an example. There's some boats you go on with really, custom cabinetry, and it's this beautiful wood, and, it looks really great. And, these are expensive boats. So you're saying, well, I'm spending the money. It should look great like this, but it's heavy. So if your requirement is to keep the boat light because you want to do more miles, you just need to keep that in mind, but something that looks good on the surface doesn't necessarily mean it fills some of your requirements. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Make notes. If you think that this is important to you, you might uncover new requirements, but the point is make notes during the boat show, come back and sit down and review your requirements and the priorities, the order of your requirements.
Yeah. But anyway, there's a lot to get distracted by. You could visit, you can spend time visiting, it's like quality over quantity. You can spend a lot of time looking at a lot of boats that kind of then everything overwhelms you versus narrowing your list based on the set of requirements you set, and then spending a lot of time with those particular boats or those particular boat builders.
And make a short list, because nowadays boat shows, to get on a boat, you need an appointment. And so contact the manufacturers that you're the most serious about, or their brokers.
I definitely would contact people early, even before you get there. Let them know it's in your top 3 boats or something, and that's what you want to do.
And if you can, come early in the week.
Earlier in the week.
The boat show might start on a Tuesday. It's quiet. Don't come on a Saturday and Sunday where all the tourists come. The vibe is going to be different. And if you want some quality time with those people, just come early in the morning. Come during weekdays if you can, and that would be the best.
So tip number 4 was, so you make an appointment, you get time with the boat builder, you take the tour, sit down after that, have a conversation, make them take you to dinner or lunch or something, have a conversation and understand their philosophy about 2 things. The first thing is have them explain to you the philosophy behind the boat they built, the one you're interested in. Why did they build it? How did they make decisions on the boat? Whether it's design decisions or architectural decisions, really understand the philosophy behind the boat so you understand what's important to them about the boat. There are some boat builders that they're in the volume business and they're wanting to sell a lot of charter boats.
Yeah, they might not advertise the boat is being designed for charter, with more people and stuff like this on board. But it's you need to find out what's their primary audience,
primary motivation, because every decision they make on that boat is based on that. So where they cut corners, where they where they want to either, get more features or design features or space or less space or whatever it is, like that determines how they make the decisions about the boat that matter to them. And so it's kind of like this, finding a perfect match on philosophy, I think is really important. And the second part of that is understand their philosophy and how they want to deal with you. So, are they going to deal with you directly? Is the broker going to be the person that deals with you? How do they engage with you specifically when it comes to the handover process, to the warranty work, to the after sales service, for custom projects? How exactly does that get done? And make sure you understand that really well, and ask them to take you through the warranty documentation. I think that's another really key point. You have anything else?
Yeah.
I'm big on this one, so I'm talking a lot, but go ahead.
No, I mean, I think
we're rolling around here in this anchorage. It's like wobbly.
The focus is on buying a boat. But buying a boat doesn't stop from where you get the keys.
Right.
Or when you put the money
down.
Not at all.
That's when it starts. That's when the whole adventure begins.
That's really when you test the relationship and what processes they have behind to take care of you, because boats are complex. There's a lot of systems on board, and there is no boat that is going to come perfect. So you need to really, really understand that, are they trying to sell you a boat and then be like, thank you for your money, here's the keys? Or do they have a bigger picture around that? Mm-hmm. Meaning, post you get the keys.
Yeah.
What's that whole process behind?
And what we've been hearing, obviously, from at the show in particular, is I think the boat industry as a whole is dealing with the talent crunch on the after sales side, and I think a lot of them are trying to figure out how to best support customers. And what's most important is to understand how they support the customers today. Because they all have a good story or explanation or vision for what they want it to be, but the industry doesn't change quickly. So it's not like suddenly in 6 months or a year or 2 years when your boat's out, it's going to magically be different.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that all of them have the philosophy of supporting customers at all.
Yeah, I'm just giving everybody the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
So I think it's, if it were me, I wouldn't listen to what they were saying about what it was going to be in the future. I would listen to the actions for how they treat their current customers.
Yeah, so that's kind of the next tip. Yeah, mm-hmm. So it's you hear directly from the boat manufacturer, but then go do your due diligence.
Yeah.
And so there is enough ways to reach out to owners of this boat or previous owners of the boat that you're looking at. Go maybe talk to chartering companies, and they have different models, different brands. Ask the technicians, what kind of issues they're seeing on these boats.
And the technicians know all of the little secrets.
There's a great source of information. Yeah, just make friends and buy them a beer, and then find out the dirty kind of secrets around these boats, because now you'll get the other side of the story, mm-hmm. and that's really important that you do your part and not just take what they say at face value.
Yeah, and even if you have your heart set on a certain boat, at least with that information, you go in with your eyes wide open. Mm-hmm. You have your expectations are set. Like, okay, they're never going to help me with that, so I'm going to need some other way to deal with that problem or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And then the final, the final point or final piece of advice is definitely sail the boat.
Yeah.
And when I say sail the boat, I don't mean let them take you out on it and drive around in the bay like the day after the boat show, when maybe there's no wind, like today. They were supposed to do some test sails with a bunch of boats today, and there's no wind out here. So it's hard to get a feel for, what a certain boat would sail like.
Well, it could be like there's not much wind, but we might be able to sail. We're always surprised when we look around.
Maybe.
We're like, and then once you put the sails up and start moving, we create our apparent wind and move. But
take a weekend
that's
or
a good test.
3 days, to understand and sail the boat that is on the top of your list, or the top 2. Sail the boat.
Charter the boat.
Charter the boat if you can. Sometimes you can't because they're not in charter. But find an owner who has a boat that you want, and make sure you're actually operating the boat, and you understand. Ergonomics are really important. That's one thing I think we've really been surprised about. Not surprised. I mean, we kind of knew it, but then you're sailing the boat and you're like, oh, that's why they did it that way, because it's so easy to do this thing. Or, oh, wow, that was really smart to put that winch there because I can see things, or whatever it is. So the ergonomics are really important. So you need to kind of be working and operating on the boat to understand all of that.
Yeah. And it's probably the most challenging tip to execute it on.
Yeah.
But go through the trouble
It's
of making it happen.
Yeah.
Take the time to do this and really realize, how the boat feels, because that's ultimately how you plan to use it. You don't plan to use it sitting in a marina. You plan to use it sailing.
Yeah.
So make it happen in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's one thing definitely looking at boats at a boat show with all the nice pillows and all the nice staging everybody does, and the lighting, and, they've got their pitch and it's clean. It's an entirely different thing, when the boat is out and you're sailing it and you're seeing how the rigging works, how the sails are, how the boat performs, the motion of the boat. All of that is going to be important.
Yeah, I mean, what you said, the ergonomics. I mean, what I'm discovering with our boat is like I feel there's like different working stations, but everything feels
It's logical.
Yeah. and natural, and so. And we sailed on different boats, but you just have to be on that boat that you're looking at, and to get that feel for yourself.
Yeah, because at the dock, you're kind of like, well, why would they put the stairs like this? Or why would this little step be here? Or, why would they? And then you're sailing it and you're like, oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, well, it's natural.
It's natural, yeah. So those are our tips. Don't buy a boat at the boat show. Sit down with whoever it is you're going to go cruising with and agree on a set of requirements. Going in and what kind of boat you're looking for and why, because like we said, it's full of trade-offs. Use that set of requirements as your lens, and get a short list so that when you go to the boat show, you can stay focused and not get distracted. Meet with the boat builders and understand their philosophy about the boat and about how they want to deal with you. And test that with conversations with existing owners, and then make sure you test sail the boat. So for yourself,
and then make the decision,
and then buy the boat.
and then I think there's a higher level of probability that you find the right boat for your project.
Yeah, great. So what are our plans after today? After we get some of this. The electronic gremlins out of our system?
It's a good question. I think I've learned to just go wait for the problem to be resolved, and then
look at the wind.
Kind of like look at the wind in the background, but don't make decisions. But have the wind patterns and changes like in the back of your head, and then once you feel good about the things that have been resolved, then you can come up with your plan. What we know is we have 2 weeks or less now to be back in La Grande Motte, so we definitely don't want to be sailing further away than where we are, and so maybe we'll get to Spain somewhere.
And maybe we won't.
Yeah, and so we'll see. We'll decide.
Cool.
Day by day.
We have new videos up on YouTube if you want to check out our YouTube channel. If you prefer the podcast, thank you so much for listening, because we're over 125 episodes now, and
Wow.
yeah, we're up there in terms of listeners. So thank you so much. Drop us a line at sailingalwyn@gmail.com, and fair winds for now.
Bon vent.